All right, we are going to get started. Welcome, hello and welcome. My name is Paul Schultz, and I am a faculty development and coaching specialist at Ashford University. And I will be the host of this session entitled Groups, Teams, sorry about that. Groups, teams, positive interdependence, and effective business communication. During this presentation, our presenters will deliver a meaningful and insightful look into the dynamics of work groups, teams, positive interdependence, and effective business communication principles that create efficiency and effectiveness within teams and organizations. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, but I encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, keep your eye on the chat for a link for a helpful session feedback survey. Now, I am pleased to introduce to you our presenters from Ashford University's Forbes School of Business and Technology, Bill Davis, who is a lead faculty and assistant professor, and also Charlie Minnick, President Emeritus from our Iowa campus and also a lead faculty. And finally, from Ashford University's College of Arts and Sciences, Department of Behavioral Science, Marty McAuliffe.
Hey everyone. Hi everyone, welcome to the session. Basically, just by way of introduction, my name is Marty McAuliffe, and I've been with Ashford University pretty much since its inception back in 2005. I teach in the criminal justice side of things, and I have been very lucky and blessed to work with both Charlie Minnick and Bill Davis on varying topics of things that they work on, and it's just a pleasure to be a part of this, and we'll be talking about change management and things like that, but I'll turn it over to Bill to let everybody know who he is a little bit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Davis, and I'm a lead faculty in the Forbes School of Business and Technology. And I absolutely love what I do. To kind of echo a little bit of what Marty just said, you know, it's really great to collaborate with talented, bright people and to team and really get the whole benefit of a group and in the teams that we've formed. And Charlie and I and Marty have done a lot of different initiatives, projects. We've been involved in a lot of things through the years. I also started here in 2005 and have been around and seen the whole proliferation of programs and the success stories. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Minnick.
Hey, thanks, Bill. My name's Charlie Minnick. So I've been at Ashford full-time since January of 2006. So again, like my co-presenters said, it's just fabulous to work with these two guys. I think it's fun just to work across disciplines and to really create meaningful dialogue and presentations for folks. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'll turn it back to Marty, I believe.
Excellent. You go to the next slide. So one of the things that we need to focus on throughout whatever we're doing is what is our purpose? Bill and Charlie and I know, and I would assume that everybody here has the same wonderful purpose of helping people achieve their goals, helping them learn, helping them not only become, not only to obtain that piece of paper that says, hey, I've got a degree and it opens doors for me professionally and for work, but also it's making me a better person. So I think the three of us would agree that our purpose is to better other people. And that means not just the students we teach, but also the people that we work with. And in light of that,
Get a little freezing up there, Marty, on us. Charlie, can you hear me? I think it's Marty's end, I think. Should we continue? Would you like me to continue, Paul? I'm sure Marty can log back in. There he is. We got you. Your sound isn't coming through, Marty. I think you're muted or.
Yeah, I've had some connectivity issues, I guess, right as we started this. I apologize. It just kicked me out. So did anybody hear anything about purpose or was that all lost?
Well, I think we got a little bit, maybe start in the middle if you want, but we kind
Okay.
of, you know.
Okay, so sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's the first time it's happened, but so you know, the thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that we've all been parts of tens of thousands of people's lives in bettering their education and their opportunity to better their employment and their lifestyles. Never take that for granted, and that's really why we're all here. So, I'll go to the next slide. So, you know, other than my cutting out on my internet, we will preserve your time. We'll get this done within a half hour. I apologize for that. I'll go a little faster with my other things, but we'll be done within the half hour and have everybody back on their way. So we can go to the next slide. Great. We already know about all of us. We did that at the beginning. So there's also a book that Bill Davis, Charlie, and I wrote that we can provide you with a free link to that. Staying engaged, it's essential. So if anybody wants that, connect with us and get you a free copy of that book. So big thing that we're going to talk about is change and change management. You know, as we're all living through what I think is the decade of 2020, my son sent me a thing in early April that, you know, he was born in the 1990s. That was the 90s decade. And then he had the decade of the 2010s, and then he had the decade of the 20-teens. And now he has the decade of the year 2020. And that he said that back in April, and it probably holds more true today than it does now. But as we've seen, you know, change is inevitable. We've gone through a ton of change through this COVID-19 crisis we've dealt with. I know a lot of people already worked online, but you know, it's affected our daily lives. And you know, really the question is, how do people and organizations deal with change? One of the things that's most difficult about change is uncertainty. Whenever things change, we're not sure of what the future is. We're not sure of even what the present is at times. And if we don't have a common reference point, or we don't have groups of people that we can kind of work through issues and problems with, then we have a real problem. And as we know through various researchers and you know, just the importance of managing changes, it occurs at many levels of organizations. It occurs at the organizational level, within groups and teams, and even at individual levels. And successful change is the goal that organizations work to build on the right leadership strategies, culture, structure, and systems. And the important thing is to remember that no matter what our title is, we're all leaders. When we enter into change, we all need to be rowing the same way and to make sure that we're going through the change together. And you know, being here at Ashford University, we kind of know there's change even beyond COVID. We'll be under new management in a little bit here. So I think this is very timely, and the types of things Bill's about to talk about will help us all through the change process more effectively.
Yes, thank you, Marty. We're talking about groups and teams and positive interdependence, and we wanted to connect in organizational change, you know, to that, because being effective in groups and teams and having good interpersonal skills and teaming up well and understanding those dynamics, those processes and characteristics that exist within groups and teams is only going to benefit you. You're going to have a heightened awareness on it. You're going to understand more, apply your emotional intelligence and understand with more social awareness and, you know, understanding relationships on those teams. And that's one of the things we hope to achieve here today, is that you walk away a little bit better than when you came in, and hopefully we're able to build some awareness for you. Now, my part is pretty easy in this presentation, and I'm just going to be talking about the change, and Marty and Charlie will be talking about the group dynamics, communication, and all of those other good things that connect everyone within a team. So with that said, when we talk about change, you know, a lot of times people will think that, you know, it's easy. Well, there's really not a lot easy about it. And change will form a continuum. A continuum is the amount of time it takes to create a successful change. So sometimes changes are short, they're more fine tuning, they happen quick. For example, we want to change this PowerPoint around and change the format on maybe how we present it. Well, that's a pretty easy change. So for us, that happens pretty quickly. So the continuum would be pretty short. But now as you start to get into transitional changes, transformational changes, that particular continuum starts to spread out. And that's what this particular graphic will show you, is that as you're moving through time, always remember that to get from a current state to a desired state is what you call a change continuum. So in a highly dynamic organization, it's not uncommon to have several types of change going on at once: fine tuning, department changes, a big transformational change. And if you're aware of this, then you're also aware of how groups and teams can help you make the right changes, by sourcing everyone's expertise. The sum is always greater than the parts. And when you put a group together, good outcomes, good positive outcomes happen. And the end goal, obviously, is to create positive, impactful, meaningful change. And so here's a visual that I just, would share with my teams throughout my career and even today, because I think it says, picture's worth 1,000 words. And I think it kind of shows you that companies get into a transition state. So what are the 3 types of changes that an organization will make? Well, I was talking just a second ago about fine tuning. Well, then I also talked about transitional change, larger scale changes that might involve different departments and systems and structures. So those might affect a lot more people than maybe some fine tuning. For example, you're changing a product, or you're changing a course, or you're changing a service. You want A and B to happen more than maybe C and D do. So as you get into all of that, those things can happen quickly. But again, what I would like you to walk away with is, here's the 3 types of changes: developmental, which is fine tuning; transitional change, which is more larger scale incremental adjustments; and then transformational change. That's large scale change. That's kind of what we're going through now, and we're patient with, and we're working through. And what I would just like to leave before I turn it over to Charlie is, just remember, there's dynamics in here. There's people in here. There's groups in here. There's attitudes in here. All of that goes in to the team leader, as Marty spoke about leadership, that's going to influence processes and people and improve. So leadership is an important component in change. So with that said, I would like to turn this over to my colleague, Dr. Charlie Minnick.
All right, Bill, thanks. So this is, there's a story behind this picture. So I'll give you the brief. So I was teaching a class in Clinton a few years back, and I was out of town. So my friend and colleague, Bill, pinched it for me. So he's on the left, and he kind of talked about, they accomplished what they had to, the team was together. And then somehow or another, if you look on the right-hand side, I don't know, Chuck Norris showed up, or he got photoshopped in or something. So they had a guest speaker for the day. So, but again, it's just about how, again, Bill and I we go way back. So it was just cool to have somebody to come in and reinforce. And so that's a little bit of the story behind the picture there. So I want to talk a bit about groups and teams as performance enhancers. I think if you go back one first, there you go. So a group can be defined as 2 or more people interact with each other to account for certain goals, meet certain needs. Whereas a team is more of when a group of people work intensely together to achieve a specific common goal or objective. So I think to successfully manage change, we need to select the right people for the right work groups, and then work to make sure we can use the synergy that comes together that the employees can deliver. So within each team, there's a variety of work styles, personality traits, preferences, and communication methods, which is, I think, the beauty of teams is you get people who have different skills together. This diversity is really critical to your success and to making sure the team can cooperate despite their differences, which will help avoid destructive conflict and keep projects on track and improve morale. But teams, don't automatically just come together by, some big light comes in and shines on people. It doesn't work that way. Building high-performing teams requires time and dedicated leadership to make that happen. Thorough team development will help your organization accomplish a few things. The first one would be increased productivity. When employees learn to work together effectively, they'll complete assignments faster and deliver better quality outcomes. The reason for that would be that they're more comfortable with each other, respectful of one another's opinions and understanding of each team member's approach. Less destructive conflict and fewer misunderstandings will lead to a better output. Improved collaborations another benefit. Well-developed teams know each other's strengths and skill sets and are more confident in one another's abilities. When team members trust each other to make the right choices, they'll be more likely to work together to face challenges and develop new, creative, innovative solutions, which is really critical in change initiatives. Next piece is strengthened communication. So team development enhances communication and helps ensure everyone feels comfortable contributing their thoughts and opinions. And it really, I think the key to that is trust. Additionally, when employees understand how communication styles work, they're more respectful and welcome new ideas. And lastly, what it'll do is boost morale. Team development helps employees bond and unite around a common cause. When team members know they can depend on each other, they'll feel supported and will result in a better work environment and increased employee satisfaction and engagement. Okay. Next slide, please. So we talked about at the beginning, we talked about positive interdependence and teamwork. So this is really emerges when group members are fully engaged in cooperative action. Together, they're focused on achieving the group goals and objectives, and they work together to create successful outcomes. I've been fortunate to really been on some really cool teams where you can just tell things are clicking, there's great synergy, people are committed to the task at hand, and that's just an awesome feeling. And that way you know you've got this positive interdependence and teamwork. It's also important to remember that with many projects, individuals rarely possess all the skills needed for successful innovation. Like we talked earlier, you got to get people who have the necessary skills to accomplish what you want to. So they'll adjust, they'll grow together, they'll uncover each other's strengths, and they'll also balance out each other's weaknesses. They really grow together and achieve more. Okay. So the next slide, we're going to talk a bit about, so this is kind of classic how groups and teams develop. This was about mid-60s, I think. Tuckman came up with these 5 stages of development. So we'll go through what they are a little bit, talk about just a challenge with each one, and then how leaders can try to attack those challenges. So forming is the first stage. The forming phase occurs when a team is established and members are introduced. In this stage, members might feel excited and enthusiastic about the work ahead. In many cases, employees may be more reserved as they learn more about each other's skills and interests. This is when the leader shares the project goals, timeline, and each member's roles in the team. So some of the challenges with forming stage is because the team is new and just beginning to understand the work, they may not know yet how to cooperate or what their role in this team will be. So from a leadership standpoint, it's important leaders clearly communicate the project and their expectations. They should also help team members get to know each other so they can help form those relationships. Next stage is storming. The storming phase occurs as employees begin to learn more about each other and disagree about the best way to start the project or specific approach challenges. This is mainly due to difference in personalities and work styles. Team members can become frustrated with each other and may argue a bit in this stage, hence the storming word. So and the challenges could be because team members are still getting to know each other. They may not fully trust each other, which we talked about earlier is really critical in effective teams. They also might not recognize each other's values or appreciate the differences. So from a leadership standpoint, it's critical leaders help team members learn how to handle conflict early in the process, and because there will be likely to be more disagreements before the storming stage is over. They should calmly moderate disputes and help clarify understandings. Okay. So the next piece is norming. The norming phase occurs when employees begin to recognize one another's strengths, understand each other's roles, and become more comfortable with working together. There's also when they start socializing more, and employees feel more comfortable asking others for advice and feedback. So some of the challenges here, while norming is really a positive phase, unresolved conflict from the storming phase can lead to regression a little bit. So additionally, too much socializing between members can threaten slow progress. Okay, so what leaders can do, stay away from employee interactions, stay aware I should say aware of employee interactions and ensure everyone is communicating respectfully. Regularly ask for updates and ensure people are staying on track. The next stage, the fourth one, is performing. This phase occurs when employees are comfortable working together. They have built strong relationships and streamlined their processes. This is also when the team reaches peak productivity and is moving forward quickly towards the end of their goal. Generally, team members are happy working together and appreciate each other's talents. So some challenges here. So as long as you provide your team with support they need during the early phases, they should be really a little more self-sufficient at this point. You're just there to monitor and make sure things are moving forward. Just as in the norming stage though, confidence can threaten to disrupt progress if employees still have unresolved differences. So leaders during this stage, you should act as a coach or mentor and offer guidance so the project meets their goals. And the last stage then is adjourning. Occurs when a team has completed the project and members move on to other endeavors. While employees generally feel accomplished at the end of their mission, they also feel a little disappointed that the experience is now over, especially really bonding with these people and you have this great energy and now you realize that the project is over. So some challenges, team members may feel a sense of loss once the project finishes, especially if they're resistant to change. So what the leaders can do is take a moment to recognize team performance and unite them one final time to celebrate their successes. So the adjourning stage is not always applicable. Some teams do stay together permanently, but your team may experience some sort of version of this when the employee leaves or when your goal has been accomplished. So that's a little bit on how groups develop, and it's not necessarily a real neat little flow. It can go up and down a little bit. So with that being said, I'll turn it back to Marty, who will keep us talking about performing and more positive interdependence.
So if we had to get to one piece that, we fully know is the most important part of change and managing change, it really does come down to communication, and that make sure that we're able to actually communicate what's going on with us and what's going on within our groups and communities. And when the next slide, Bill, we look at the career readiness for the new college graduate. We can see that, oops, did we go too far? Are we on final thoughts, Bill? So basically communication is the most important part of keeping everything together as far as any change process and within a group. If you think about groups that you've been in, then it's really important that we go ahead and are able to communicate in meaningful ways with each other. And communication is kind of a catch-all term, but the most important thing for communication is that we have effective communication. And that's actually something has to be worked at. We look at the new technologies we have as things change within our technological world. As a matter of fact, my daughter is on Instagram, which I don't understand, but I see her taking pictures of her face all the time with different looks, and somehow that conveys to her friends what she's feeling, and they respond. And so we need to learn to keep up with that. And we need to work at these communication skills, particularly when we're writing. We need to have strong writing skills, and we need to make sure that the way we write things can convey what we're actually intending to convey. A lot of times we'll write something as a joke, but it might be taken the wrong way. So, and if we have effective communication, it'll always boost the morale of everybody involved, employees, leaders, and the people that we serve, our students in particular for us. And one of the important things is to be self-aware about how we identify and communicate with other people, and make sure that the way we say things and the way we write and do things actually it does that. So effective communication it will yield effective management, and effective communication contributes to the overall growth of the business that we're a part of. Next slide, Bill. So basically, here are some references for what we used for our presentation today, so that you can actually read up on these things if you'd like to. And in honor of time, we've got about 5 minutes left. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to deal with them.
Also, too, we did want to leave you with, I'm just jumping here a little bit. I want to get to that slide with the link. this particular book is available to you. You know, it's a free ebook. We did it. We didn't make a dime on this. We did it for Ashford University. We put this all together. It is published. It's in the Library of Congress. It's a free ebook, and we'd like to make that available, Paul, to everyone. If we want to put that link in the chat, or you know, if you want to, we can copy that. I can put it in there. But that's what it's all about, is growing and learning. And in this particular book, you'll hear some of the themes and things we talked about in this presentation: leading, communicating, leading in groups, leading organizational change. It's all in there. So, Marty, you did an excellent job. Charlie, as always, you know, we just wanted to deliver a few concepts here and allow you to use them situationally in the situations you're in. Just keep in mind, there's a lot of process and dynamics going on. When you look at something that's a dynamic world, it's always in a state of change. And I think that comes through loud and clear. So hopefully we've equipped you with some ideas, concepts, constructs that you can use and apply. And always enjoy presenting with Charlie and Marty. And we've done a lot of work together on panels and groups and conferences. So this is just another way to pay it forward to everyone here.
Yeah, I think that, yes, somebody asked, maybe it was Paul, you asked, how has COVID changed us? Oh my God, it's changed it incredibly. I think it's, because now we have to, I think, be really, really deliberate about the forming stage a little bit, because people are working at home, and they have, so many people have, not only they're trying to do their work, they're trying to help their kids go to school. They've got, you know, their spouses might be working at home, partners are working at home. It has really, really changed the whole process. But I think we have to be even more deliberate in connecting people early and often. So you have, because it's just a whole new way of going at it. So I think we just have to be really deliberate in connecting people with processes and reaching out to people, make sure everybody's on board. What challenges are people having, you know, with the whole COVID thing, because it has changed how we do things. But I also think it's opened up other possibilities as well as how we can do our jobs moving forward. Can we, I read an article the other day, talked about it's going to be really hard to get really top talent anymore if you don't offer some sort of, at least a hybrid sort of working arrangement. So I think it's changed. It'll change the whole dynamic, I think, is how we hire people, you know, where people work, how we do work, how we accomplish work. So I think it'll change all of that dynamics as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think especially in group dynamics, when you're in with people that you're not familiar with and you don't have the opportunity to sit down and get to know them, you know, more intimately like you do in person, share a cup of coffee, that kind of thing. I'm called back. I don't remember which awards. It might have been the Golden Globes, but Brad Pitt won some kind of award maybe 5 or 6 months ago. And at the end of his speech, he said, "Hey, tomorrow, if you get the opportunity to be kind, take it." And that's kind of, you know, I think what we all have to do now through this COVID thing. You know, we all are dealing with limitations. We're all dealing with frustrations that are beyond our control. And kind of like knowing we're all in this together, I think, is the only way we get through it and function as a group and all of the change we're going through as an organization right now. So I think we just all need to keep that in mind. And I think we do that as an organization. That's part of the reason why the three of us have been around for a decade and a half. We've always found kindness here, and we've always found support from other people. So
yeah, that's just critical. Patience and kindness.
Yeah. One final point, always stay positive and be grateful for everyone's contributions, because it's what reputations are made of, and everybody contributes something. So we hope we delivered a good quality, meaningful presentation and some content you can use. And Paul, I don't know if we put that book link in the chat, but I can provide that to you, or, you know, whatever later. And you got it. So anyway, we're set. Paul, I'll give you back the floor here. And you can
all right. No, thank you. And, you know, thank you, Bill Davis, Charlie Minnick, and Marty McAuliffe. And thank you, audience, for your participation in today's sessions. We hope that you'll take a moment to complete the brief survey the link was posted in the chat. And we encourage you to attend the next featured presentations coming up next at 1 o'clock. Remember that you can access all presentations via the TLC online event page on Eventbrite. and continue the conversation and engage with the conference participants on social media using the hashtag AUTLC. Enjoy the rest of TLC. And thank you for being here.
Thanks, everyone.